Okay, we're going to take a look at programming Tyler's outdoor scene here. So let's grab our file first. So we'll go File, Import, and what do I have it listed as here? There you go, Paz Scene. So let's import that, and we will drag and drop. And as you can see, this image here has some things in the background. Usually the AccuScan will get rid of that. So we'll AccuScan first, and we'll see where that puts us. And there we go. It knocks all that out. Now this has quite a bit of detail on it. The image is a little bit choppy due to the pixelation of the image. And if you paid for the image, sometimes they come in a little bit nicer. But we will let the vectorization run, and we'll see what it does with it. So let's go vector, and we're going to keep our selection on logo complex, and that should grab most of it. So let's click and see what it does here. And let's move this out of the way. From afar, it looks pretty good still. We're going to zoom in here just a little bit and see where it puts us. And let's bring us to the bottom corner. And let's zoom in and take a look. So it's not too bad. Some of these small trees look a little bit wavy, but also you have to think about it too. Once we actually cut this on the plasma cutter, it's probably going to look a little more jagged anyhow. So I think we'll be okay there. Now, a couple small spots right here where these connections are, we're going to have to beef up a couple of those. They might be a little bit smaller dimensionally, so we will take and check those out. We'll zoom in individually and look at them. We also want to take a look at our size here. So right now we're roughly, if we look up top here, it's almost 7 inches high, and it's about 19 inches wide. So let's just go for an even number. We'll take it for 19 inches for the width. And there we go. Puts us right at 7 for our height. So we have that complete. Let's also take, and we need to knock the back out. So let's do our XO, our weld. And that looks pretty good. So the only couple things that I have concerns about on this one, most of these parts and pieces are large. We'll probably upgrade a little bit by this tree here. We'll make that line a little bit thicker. And these look like decent sizes coming across the top of these peaks. Now where it does get a little bit shy is up here at the top. So we might try and add maybe an eighth or a quarter inch wide here, and also at the top of this peak coming back down. And we'll see what it looks like here. So we'll zoom in just a touch here, and let's make a small rectangle, and let's make our height 1/8 of an inch, 0.125, and there we go. So it is much thicker. So that's probably a 1/16 of an inch or so. And if we tried to cut that, it would probably just blow it right out of there. You would never see it again. So we'll take and put a slight rotation on this, bring it down, and we'll just add them like so. So right there, if I get it back out, you can't even really tell that I added it there. It looks like it should be there. So let's press and hold shift, and let's weld that in. And because we know it's definitely we're gonna have some problems with that, we need that 1/8 of an inch. We will come over here to this side. Let's do the same exact thing. Let's draw another rectangle here, and let's make it an 1/8. So it's going to be a little bit longer on this one, which is fine. 0.125. And now let's rotate just a little bit. And we will drag and drop. We'll try and keep it, we don't want to get too crazy with these. We want to try and keep the original look per se. So right there we go. We added an 1/8 inch, and it's, I wouldn't say totally seamless, but it doesn't look out of place. Let's put it to you that way. So let's weld that one. I like to weld them as I go, and that way it's definitely gonna, we know it's definitely gonna take. It's not gonna be a surprise if it doesn't. So let's grab another one here. We'll do another one on this side. Excuse me. Now an 1/8 might look a little out of place for this one, but at the same time, this tree is only supported by, well, there's a large support at the bottom. So for something like that, we could probably get away with it. because there is such a large base on the bottom of this. There's a large amount that's connected. So this small one up here, I'm actually going to let that go. We'll see if when it cuts out, we'll see if it stays or melts. If it does melt, not the end of the world, because like I said, we have quite a bit of material there. So let's grab one. Let's get one in right here. Let's make this just a touch longer. And let's rotate. We'll move this down just a little bit. And bring this a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll throw another piece in. I hate to make it look like it's not rounded off. We want to make it sort of look natural. Like the top of here is probably going to be, it's going to be a little close on the cut, but what we'll do is I'll make sure that the back of this is submerged in water. We'll cut it down. We'll top that table off, and if we can keep that material cool at the top of here, it shouldn't melt and blow away. So I think we'll be all right with that. Let's let's weld this while we're here. Excuse me. And we'll do one more, and we'll take that other one and bring it down on a little bit more of an angle to try and fit the current one that's on there. So our width is right here. Let's bring this down, and let's see if we can rotate this just a skosh. And it's not terrible. It could be a little bit better. Let's zoom in here. We'll try and clean these up a little bit. Let's weld this first before we get too far ahead of ourselves. We'll put just another little piece of material on here. We'll change our color so we can see what we're doing, of course. So that'll work there. Let's weld this guy in. And this corner here we want to smooth out. Let's try to, maybe we can, it'll try an ellipse. We'll see if we can put a rounded edge to it. If we can maybe do something like this. I don't know if I can rotate, if this will encompass it. It's not going to work quite right. Or can we make it a little bit larger, maybe rotate a little bit more, something like this. And it's not going to cooperate. We will actually, for how small that little bump out is, you'd never even see that. So we'll weld it, we'll add it on, and I think that'll take care of it. So that's our total image. Let's I like to move it one time just to see if anything sticks around behind, and nothing did happen there. So let's move it back to where we were at. Let's do a male toolpath. We'll see what it looks like. So we have our image selected, male toolpath, and it's basically telling us that some things are very small, and our lead ins and outs might cause some problems. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our show toolpath only. We'll zoom in and see where we're at. And some of those are these little blips that are right here. So that very small detail between the trees. So I think that'll work. There's nothing else right now that really raises a major red flag. I think most things will cut. The only other thing we can do with this is try to do what's called an online toolpath. So just to show you what that looks like, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison, I'm going to delete my male toolpath, bring back my the original image. And I'm going to show you the difference between what these look like. So let's do a male toolpath first. And I'm going to drag this out of the way. And let's go back to our image. Let's get this one out of here too. I'm going to do a female toolpath. So you can see what that looks like. Show toolpath only. Grab and drag. And let's do an online toolpath. And sometimes it's a minor difference, but it's noticeable. So we'll see what our three look like here. So if we zoom in, they're very similar. Now here's where you can tell between the male and the female. So the male toolpath runs on the outside of the lines, outside of our vector. On the female, you can see it's much thinner here because it's running on the inside. And if you look on the last one, the outside, or the on center, I'm sorry, or online, you'll see those lines are about halfway between the difference. Now, the only thing that's going to help us on the online toolpath is we won't have the lead ins and lead outs. So if you guys remember when we cut, that tool bit has to come in 1/4 of an inch before it will start that cut. So it'll start the cut, it'll lead in 1/4 inch to move into the cut. The only part that I'm concerned about is the tip of this peak right here, which will probably lose that. That material is probably not going to stay. If I look at the female toolpath, it's almost non-existent. If I look at the male toolpath, I can see I definitely have some material there. So for this one here, we'll probably actually stick with the male toolpath. If the lead ins and lead outs look goofy, if it doesn't look quite right, we will change and probably go to the online. So we'll delete these out of the way here, and we will stick with our male toolpath. So we're just gonna, I like to keep the toolpath with the image. So we'll do another one real quick, and we'll keep it right behind the image. And we will then grab our image. Let's make sure we're not in the negative here. So let's go 0, 0. And we are ready to cut. And well, lastly, I should say, make sure our file's saved. So let's go Paz Scene Final, save our image, and we should be good to go. All we have to do is open it up on the computer at the Torchmate, create our G-code file. Should be a quick second, and we should be good to go there. Okay, that's all, folks. Thank you.